New to the Raptor family, Ford introduced the new Ford Bronco Raptor. Welcome to the Joel TORQ podcast. My name is Joel TORQ. Today, a few news in the automotive world, some interesting news. First of all, we've got the brand new 2022 Bronco Raptor. So Ford's got a brand new strategy now. It's not only the Ford F-150 Raptor, and the family is growing, and this is pretty exciting. Especially myself, I used to own a Gen 1 F-150 Raptor, so that's pretty exciting for myself. We can expect this family of Raptor Ultimate Off-Roader to expand in the Ford brand. We can expect the new Ford Ranger Raptor. Overseas, they have already that model, but there's one upcoming also for North America. And if you follow all the spy photos and all that, we had a nice glimpse last week about this new Ranger Raptor. And just behind it, we had the actual Ford Bronco Raptor. So pretty exciting about these models. First of all, Bronco Raptor. So this is the ultimate Raptor. It's going to compete against the Jeep Wrangler 392. So high horsepower, built for off-roading, but not only off-roading, high-speed off-roader, not only for the trail or rock crawling. As you can see, if you have the chance to see this actual Raptor, go check it out. It's pretty amazing. It's super wide, super high also. So it's built really for high-speed off-roading. So first thing we can notice about this new Ford Raptor, it's super wide. Those fenders are really, really wide. Actually, this Raptor, it's almost 10 inches wider than a base Bronco. So it's 9.8 inches wider. Extremely wide. This is why we're gonna find more, marker lights all around this Raptor, just like on the F-150. Similar grille. We've got that typical Raptor grille in the front, big, bold Ford logo. And we have those marker lights all around because the Raptor is so wide, it needs those marker lights to be legal on the road. So you've got those 3 markers in the front, on the side, on the mirrors, and in the back on top of the spare. And look at those wheels. Oh, my God. If you're not online, you can listen to my podcast everywhere. You can have any podcast, but also all the video form is on my YouTube channel, on the TORQ Army channel. These wheels are 37 inches wheels. Those are the biggest wheels ever put on any SUVs on the market right now from the OEM. This is pretty amazing. Speaking of the engine under the hood, a lot of expectation on that side. Even myself, I was expecting a V8 5-liter, but unfortunately, Ford loved their EcoBoost engine. Under the hood, we can find a V6 3-liter EcoBoost, so it's a twin turbo. Expected horsepower is going to be 400 horsepower, a little bit less than the Jeep Wrangler 392. The 392 is going to be around 470 horsepower. I think, when they're putting those EcoBoost powertrain, it's really a nice mix of, power and also fuel economy and all that. But carrying those 37 inches tires, I don't know if the 3-liter is enough. So, the 3-liter have been used in other Ford products, especially in the Lincoln products. We can find it in the Ford Explorer ST and also inside of the Lincoln Aviator and some other Lincolns also. But this one's going to be tuned by Ford Performance to have extra power, extra fun, My point of view, one of the thing about this powertrain, it's really because on the factory floor, this Bronco it's built basically on the same frame as the Ford Ranger. So there's no V8 models, actually built on this actual platform. So it was an easy fit to put that engine. This is basically what I've heard of. Too bad, we don't get the 3.5 EcoBoost we can find in the F-150. I think it would be a better match for the Wrangler 392 or even a V8. A V8, the Coyote with 420, 430 horsepower, the V8 sound and all that. Easy to modify, easy to put a supercharger on it. And back in the day, the Bronco and the Mustang used to share the same V8. It would have made sense, but Ford loved the EcoBoost. It's also better on emission and all that. But I wish they had a nice Bronco with the V8 with a manual transmission. I know I'm a car enthusiast, truck enthusiast. We all wish those things. Probably the EcoBoost is a better seller and bunch of things. But from my point of view, if you want to go do some hardcore off-roading, it's always better to have a big engine who doesn't need a lot of component, a lot of tubing, a lot of intercoolers and all that. With a turbo, especially a twin turbo engine, there's a lot of things who can go wrong while doing some off-roading. So when you have a more old school approach, just like Jeep, on the long run, it should be a little bit easier, not breaking everything under the hood. But there's other stuff also about the Bronco. It's not all about performance. It's really about, the off-road capacity. There's a OS 4.0 race-ready suspension system, fully box high-strength steel frame, and the standard 37-inch all-terrain tires, all part of this packaging. There's also a new suspension from Fox. Those are 3.1 inches of diameter. Nice suspension. Once again, this Bronco comes only in a 4-door version. There's no 2 doors. There's no manual transmission. I think it looks great. It's a nice product. It's a mean machine. It starts around $69,999 in the US. I'm not sure yet in Canada. Probably around like $78,000, something like that in Canada. But in the US, a little bit cheaper than the Wrangler 392. But from my point of view, the Wrangler 392 is going to be rare and it's going to be a piece of collection. And it's going to be the last Wrangler with a big V8. So maybe a better investment on the Jeep side, maybe a little bit more fun, and it looks better also. It's easy to notice this Bronco is a Raptor edition. It's so wide, the big fenders, the hood is different, also the grille in the front. So you're not able to mix it up, not like the Wrangler 392. The Wrangler 392, it looks good, but it's not super different from a Rubicon or a Mojave or all that. This Bronco Raptor, it's really cool. There's a tons of Easter eggs all around this Raptor. Underneath the fuel door, instead of having some regular Broncos, those are raised Broncos. And there's dates also on the hood of each time they run the Bronco Indy Baja race. This is really cool, I think Raptor did a good job with this Bronco Raptor. All right, next on the news, we've got a nice glimpse of the Cadillac Escalade V. It's brand new. First time an SUV is going to wear the V badge for the Cadillac lineup. Pretty exciting. A lot of speculation of what to expect under the hood of this Escalade V. So far, we just have a few image of the exterior, a little bit of the interior and all that, but no, specs and all that. From my point of view, under the hood, I've got 2 rumors, 2 expectation. The obvious one is the V8 LT4, so the 6.2 supercharged we can find in the Camaro, in the CT5V Blackwing, or even in the previous gen Corvette Z06. I think the LT4 makes sense. We had a nice glimpse of the video with the sound. It sounds like a LT4. I've seen other, rumors on the internet about the engine inside of this Cadillac. The engine underneath the hood of a truck, it's not exactly the same engine as the one you can find under the hood of a Camaro or Corvette. It's a truck engine, so it's more built for truck duty. It's more heavy duty. It's built for towing capacities and all that. So the rumors I've seen online is basically they're probably gonna do a supercharger kit to go on that truck engine, and the Cadillac Escalade V is gonna have this particular kit. And in the future, we're gonna be able to purchase that kit for trucks and also other SUVs who have the V8 6.2. So just a quick example, I own a GMC Yukon with the 6.2, so I hope this rumor is real. I'm going to be able to have a supercharger and purchase it from the dealership, have the tuning and also probably the warranty and all that. As some of you may know, the GM products are pretty tough to modify. It's really expensive. I know HP Tuner was able to crack them, but as a previous Ford owner, it was easy back in the day just purchasing a programmer, and you put your tune and your programmer was $500. Now with HP tuners, they have the solution, but it's pretty pricey. You have to remove your ECU, send it to HP tuner. They send you a new one with a new programmation. It's just, it's super expensive. It's complicated. And also on the long run, if you want to resell your actual truck or car, it's a little bit complicated. And it's not as easy as having a programmation, removing your parts and put back the OEM, tune and resell your car. That was, quick and easy. But with this, it's a little bit more complicated. So let me know in the comments if you're on YouTube. Do you think they're going to put the LT4 or the supercharged kit on the V8 6.2? The Escalade's going to have already under the hood. Let me know in the comments. Next on the news, we had a glimpse, some spy shots of the new Jeep Grand Wagoneer extended version. So, at first, when I saw the Jeep Wagoneer and the Jeep Grand Wagoneer, I first thought the Wagoneer was the small one and the Grand Wagoneer was the extended one, but I'm wrong. The Wagoneer it's kind of like, I don't know, the Tao Yukon, and the Grand Wagoneer is kind of like an Escalade or a Navigator, I can say so. And they're pretty big. And actually, I reviewed 2 weeks ago the Jeep Grand Wagoneer, and it's big. It's the biggest in its class. And at first, I thought it was kind of like cheating because it was the extended one, but I'm wrong. They gotta come out soon with an extended Wagoneer and an extended Grand Wagoneer. So they're going to dominate in the extended large SUV segment. So they're going to compete against the Cadillac Escalade ESV or the Navigator L. And for the Wagoneer, the Yukon XL and the Suburban or the Ford Expedition Max. All right. And finally for the news this week, you may have seen it online. Arnold Schwarzenegger had an accident in California, and he's driving a GMC Yukon. Pretty bad accident. I think Arnold was okay. He smashed literally on the top of a Prius, and all the airbags went off. And it's kind of like it's not funny, but it kind of is. It's like a big SUV on top of the small Prius, and who came out of the big SUV? It's the Terminator. And also in the back, we can see on the photos, if you have the chance to look it up, there's a Porsche Taycan who ran into them. I think everyone was all right. I'm not sure. Don't take my words on that. I think only the driver of the Prius had some injury to the head. But online, I'm pretty, I'm pretty happy to see Arnold is driving the same truck as me. But there's a lot of complaints online because Arnold was involved into politics and all that, and he was always pushing the EV cars and the green cars and all that. And now he just had an accident with a big SUV guzzler, so he's not the real green guy and all that. From my point of view, yeah, if I had the money of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I would own, I don't know, thousand, not 1,000 cars, but 100 of cars, probably at least 50. And if I would like to drive any of them, it's my own money, it's my own fun, and probably, Arnold is driving the Yukon because he likes the size, the comfort, and also it's really luxurious, but at the same time it's kind of undercover. It's perfect for a celebrity like Arnold or myself. I'm joking on that, but I think when you're a big guy like myself, like Arnold, wide shoulders, the Yukon, it's a good ride on to drive on a daily basis. All right, next let's talk a little bit about my latest reviews. 3 weeks ago, we're already there. I drove the Jeep Grand Wagoneer, and also last week the Infiniti QX60. All right, first of all, Jeep Grand Wagoneer. Check it out on my reviews on the channel. If you're listening on the podcast, go check it out. The YouTube channel is called TORQ Army. Grand Wagoneer, it's been a long time I want to drive it because, I'm really into big SUVs, and it's the first time really, it used to be FCA, but now it's Stellantis. Let's say it's Chrysler in general. They're back in the large SUV market. So the Grand Wagoneer is built on the Ram 1500 platform, so it makes sense. Really, really luxurious truck, amazing ride, a lot of power, more power than the Escalade and the Navigator. We've got the big V8 6.4 liter, 392 under the hood, great sound, fun to drive, not fun to go to the gas station with. It's pretty hard on fuel. I was averaging between 16 to 18 liters per 100 kilometers. Sorry, my US friend. I don't know. It's something like 14 miles per gallon, something like that. Grand Wagoneer, really luxurious. From my point of view, I didn't grow up with the Grand Wagoneer era. Last time we had some Grand Wagoneer on the road, it was in 91. So I'm not used to that Grand Wagoneer reputation. From my point of view, this truck is competing against, Cadillac, Lincoln, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, and all that, but it's still, it's still a Jeep. I know there's not a lot of Jeep logo, and I think at Jeep, they're really trying to separate the Wagoneer brand from the Jeep brand. Even online, when you try to look it up, the Wagoneer, and you press on the Wagoneer on the Jeep website, you switch to another website, you get sent to the Wagoneer website. So I think, at the plan at Stellantis right now, it's really to launch that Wagoneer brand under the Jeep umbrella. But, in the future, the Wagoneer brand is going to be all by himself. But it still look like a Jeep. So super expensive, a lot of luxury inside. There's like 8 screen inside. Go check out my reviews. I go deeper inside all the gadgets and all the technology. Great truck. But again, it doesn't have the presence on the road or in the parking lot like a Cadillac or Lincoln. And the younger generation needs to be, educate on that luxury level of the Grand Wagoneer. And I'm not sure if the new generation's gonna, really make the match inside of their head. This truck is competing against, big luxury brands. That's something, Jeep and the Wagoneer brand needs to work on. Maybe someone who's 50 years old or older, they know that brand, that Grand Wagoneer magic. But if you're a little bit younger, and especially if you live in Canada, just like me, I'm not into that magic yet. But amazing products, a lot of fun to drive, and a lot of fun also to be inside of this Wagoneer. But one little thing during my review, it was extremely cold. It was minus 30 Celsius, almost 0 Fahrenheit. Super cold, and a lot of things went wrong on the Grand Wagoneer that day when I drove it. My blinkers went off, completely not working. The running boards wouldn't go up. And the the pressure of the actual tire, the PSI sensors and all that, the a lot of things was beeping, a lot of things didn't work out. And the day after, it was a little bit warmer. Everything went back to normal, but it's kind of scary a little bit. Having a truck whose the price tag was $132,000 Canadian, so around 115 US. It's super expensive. It's brand new. Everything was going wrong just because it was cold. On the long term, it's kind of scary. All right, next, last week I drove the Infiniti QX60, just like the actual, image behind me. If you search for all my content and you have a hard time to find it, you can always go to torcarmy.com. Infiniti QX60 new generation for 2022. It's based on the Nissan Pathfinder. Okay, so once again, you can go check out my full review. Overall, I was kind of disappointed about the Infiniti products. Not a surprise there. Infiniti is struggling. There's a lot of rumors. Infiniti dealership's gonna disappear and they're gonna be absorbed by new Nissan dealership. They're gonna be called Nissan Plus. Once again, what I'm seeing right now, and nothing is really confirmed. That's the rumor, but it seems to be a little bit more than a rumor. So the QX60 overall, from my point of view, there's not a big difference between a Pathfinder and the Infiniti products. They should do a little bit more, a bigger gap between those brands. Especially in that segment, it's super similar, interior-wise, even outside the wheels, the design, the pattern, it's almost the same. Yes, the Infiniti products looks better outside. Obviously it's an Infiniti. It looks a little bit more, sporty, a little bit more aggressive, less squarish, boxy than the Pathfinder. But, there's not a big difference between those products. Inside is basically the same screen. The interior is basically the same, different materials and all that. But there's not a big difference between those models. Under the hood, a little bit more horsepower, a little bit more torque, but it's the same engine. When they do like an SUV on the same platform, they should do something a little bit different. I know, Infiniti is struggling. They're cutting a little bit more to make more profit. That's why they're using basically everything the same, and the only difference is basically the exterior and some equipment. They should put a different engine under hood. Maybe using they have a V6 twin turbo, more power. It would make sense, for the Infiniti products. If you compare the base QX60 with a base Pathfinder or the top of the line, QX60 with a top of the line Platinum Pathfinder, there's at least a $10,000 to $15,000 difference. And from my point of view, it's not worth it. If you're into Nissan Infiniti products, I think buying the Nissan Pathfinder Platinum, you have a better value for your money from my point of view. The QX60, it's all about the brand, and the looks. And for my point of view, again, the Infiniti brand doesn't have the, reputation and the magic they used to have back in the day. And I think the best example for this type of SUV, if we're looking at the GM lineup, the Chevrolet Traverse, it's about the same size as a Pathfinder, but they're doing several different models from, 4 different brands. So we got the Chevrolet Traverse, we've got the GMC Acadia, we have the Buick Enclave, and finally the Cadillac XT6. And, there's a huge gap between all these products. They're really different. And also, they're not all the same length. The GMC one is a little bit shorter, a little bit more off-road. Now you can have the AT4. I think GM is doing a good job, especially when you have like 4 brands. It's really more difficult to make a big difference between each brand on the same platform. Again, at GM, you can find basically the same powertrain, just like Nissan Infiniti is doing. But interior-wise, there's a huge gap between the Cadillac and the Chevrolet and the GMC and the Buick. I think they're doing a little bit better job, and again, in the same segment, we can find the Explorer with the Lincoln Aviator. Same platform, but the Aviator is gonna have like a more powerful powertrain, really different interior. So I think Infiniti needs to step up their game and make an Infiniti magic. Maybe it's a little bit more sportier, more power performance, a stiffer suspension. I don't know, something a little bit more different. The ride was pretty much the same, and all the modes it's too similar. Overall, I was disappointed. I think Infiniti should do a little bit more magic to make it different from the Nissan Pathfinder. All right, now it's mail time. A few weeks ago, I received some nice shirts from the OneBone brand. The OneBone brand is from Montreal, here in Quebec, Canada. OneBone is basically a new type of shirt for big boy. So it's not your typical big and tall, apparel, clothes, and all that. They're saying it's for everyone, but it's really for tall and big person. So if you're like me, I'm 6'3", more than 300 pounds. I used to be a little bit more in shape. I used to have my six pack and all that back in the day. But even when I used to weigh 250 pounds and around that. I was always in between, two sizes of shirt. Even when I was in shape, I was always in between, XL and 2XL. When I got a little bit more fat, I was always in between, 2XL and 3XL. That's pretty much where I'm standing now. And when you reach those sizes, I'm speaking about the 2X, 3X, and more. They're really made for obese person. They're really large. There's a lot of space for the stomach, and most of the time they're really short also. So with the OneBone brand, even if you gain a little bit of stomach, I could say, especially with the lockdown, and me and my wife had a baby about 3 to 4 months ago. It was a little bit hard, on the diet, on the shape. So I gained a little bit of weight. I tried to get back on track, but it's still the lockdown here in Canada. But it's hard, especially, when the gyms are closed. I've been to the gym since, I was 17. I used to go to the gym, on a daily basis, and building your own gym in your garage, in your basement. It's not the same thing. It's fun to get out of the house and train with other people. And also, I'm a big boy. I lift some heavy weights, and I don't want to equip myself with some super expensive heavy weights here at home. Overall, I've been lacking on my training during the lockdowns. The multiple lockdowns. But with all this, now I'm wearing a 2XL or 3XL. And sometimes, I look funky. Those shirts doesn't have a great shape. With the OneBone shirt, first of all, the curve on the side. So they're a bit longer on the front and in the back. It fits well. You look a little bit more slimmer. It's a little bit tighter on the side. So it's really made for big guys like me. Again, they're not loose on the arms and all that. I think they look good. Now I'm wearing the one who's a V-neck, super high quality. Those shirts are not cheap. They're probably the most expensive T-shirt I have in my closet. And I used to own some really expensive stuff. Like Christian Digier, Ed Hardy. I'm joking, but these shirts were all about the fashion back in the day. I know it's kind of cringy now and all that, but I like to laugh a little bit about myself. But these are really nice. There's no big logos, just a small brand on this side. Super nice material. They always fit really well. And I'm really glad OneBone sent me a bunch of shirts. They're my favorite shirt. I was supposed to wear them for my attendance at the Montreal Auto Show, but once again, everything is canceled. Everything is on lockdown. So instead of wearing those shirts at the auto show, I'm wearing them during the podcast. And so go check out their website. I'm going to put a discount code in the description of this video. I think you're going to get 15% off. It's really worth it for those t-shirts. So now it's time for the round of question. I received a question who's really related to today's podcast. So basically the question is, which large luxurious SUV is the best? Is it the Escalade, the Navigator, or the brand new Grand Wagoneer? So from my point of view, right now the Lincoln Navigator is a great product, but it's kind of outdated by the new Cadillac and the Jeep products. My dad owned one, Navigator L and all that. I think on a daily basis, the Navigator is going to give you the best performance versus fuel economy with the EcoBoost engine. Technology-wise, inside, there's a small, update for 2022, a bigger screen, but it's not enough to compete against the Grand Wagoneer with 8 screen or the curved Super HD one you can find inside of the Escalade. So this game is really in between the Cadillac Escalade and the Grand Wagoneer. I think look-wise, I think the Escalade is always more flashy. The people knows what an Escalade is. You can ask 8 years old or 98 years old. They know basically what is an Escalade. And the Grand Wagoneer, probably most people's gonna say it's only a Jeep, and some people's gonna be like, wow, this is a Grand Wagoneer, this is expensive, this is top level luxury. So from my point of view, Cadillacs win that round. On the other side, for the ride, both are really comfortable. You've got better handling with the Escalade, with the mix of the air suspension with the Magna Ride. So handling-wise, it's a little bit more fun to drive the Escalade, but off-road-wise, obviously, the Jeep is a little bit better than the Cadillac products. So it depends, if you drive in the city, always on the pavement, you're going to appreciate more the Escalade. But if you go on rougher path on the weekend, the Wagoneer is a little bit more capable. Engine-wise, Grand Wagoneer is more fun to drive than the 6.2. The 6.2's got it's a bit better on fuel, and it's not really far behind the 6.4. But a big advantage at the Cadillac side, it's the choice of engines. When you're looking at the Jeep Grand Wagoneer, you only have one option of engine, and it's the big 392 6.4 liter V8. And it's pretty horrible on fuel. So at Cadillac, now you're going to have 3 options with the new V. So you got the 6.2 or the diesel. The diesel is really good on fuel economy. So if you're ready to make a sacrifice on the performance, an Escalade Duramax is really good. You can go down easily in the 8 liters per 100 kilometers. It's really good on the fuel economy side. So, driving Escalade diesel, it's really worth it. I'm sure on the performance side, the Escalade V is going to crush the Grand Wagoneer. We can expect 600 plus horsepower, maybe 650 easily. LT4 or supercharged V8 6.2, it's going to be around those numbers. From my point of view, the Escalade V is going to be a little bit like, what Hennessy did for years and years. Just having those large SUVs and putting a big supercharger on it. And you've got that big, comfortable, capable, you can carry up to 7 people, 8 people, some of those setups with a lot of horsepower under the hood. It's just great. So far, I think the Jeep did a good job on that side. They're competing, they're playing in that field, but the best buy from my point of view, it's really the Cadillac Escalade. It's got the looks, it's got the optional engine, it's got the handling and all that. It's the screen inside is really cool. obviously, if you're into technology, the Grand Wagoneer or the screen in front of the passenger side, it's a cool option. But when you're looking at those SUVs who's 130,000, sometimes you're able to buy yourself a iPad, and the iPad can be, you can carry the iPad with you pretty much everywhere. It doesn't stay inside of your truck. So from my point of view, it's not a big deal. So Cadillac wins on the performance with the new V, overall with that normal model, and on the fuel economy, daily use, and all that. So that's it for the question round. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share if you're on the YouTube channel. If you're on the podcast platform, don't forget to leave me a review. Push the plus button, subscribe button, whatever you got on your podcast platform. Don't forget to send me your question if you like me to answer your question on the podcast channel. And last thing but not least, if you want to support the channel, you can go check it out, my Patreon. I've got multiple channels. If you like to help me to pay for the gas I put in the Grand Wagoneer, it will be really appreciated. And there's a lot of extra things, a lot of extra feature on the Patreon website. So once again, thank you for tuning in today. And we're going to see each other probably next week or the next podcast.